Hello and welcome, Donna. I'm very happy to have you here.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Fabulous. So, we're going to talk about a topic I think a lot of people can relate to. So, before we go there, let people know where you're based.
I'm in the United States, in the Midwest, and moved back to the home state area after being away for 40 years in the mountains. So
Wow.
now I'm back in the Midwest and surrounded by good people, really good people.
I love that. I love that. So, give us like the bird's eye overview. What's your business? Like who do you support and how do you do it?
I have a background in marketing, and I owned my own business for like 30 years, so I'm very left brain grounded in that area. But what I focus on now is using all that experience as a business owner and a single mom, as working with individuals now that are most times frustrated because their business or their personal life isn't doing what they want it to do, with the common theme of being stuck.
Mhm.
So I help them see where they're stuck and how to get unstuck so they can move forward.
Mm, I love that. I love that because I think everybody can relate to it, right? So, in your experience, what are some typical ways being stuck shows up in real life for people?
Um, Funny, sometimes it's people have unexplained stiffnesses or soreness or achiness in their body, and just they're stuck. Literally their body is stuck because they are mentally stuck, and it's showing up in their physicality. Or they're uncertain, they're hesitant, they're indecisive. And those are, when you're a business person, those three things are embarrassing and they're costly.
Yeah.
And so what happens, I work primarily with small business owners. And so that when you're stuck in the business scenario, it affects your relationships and it affects your health. When you're stuck in a relationship problem, it affects your business and your health. When you're stuck in a health scenario, it affects your business and your relationships. So when someone's stuck, it doesn't just affect one aspect of their life, it affects everything. And that's exhausting. That's a big thing I hear all the time with my people is, I'm tired all the time. Well, uncertainty and hesitancy and indecisiveness is exhausting because your brain never rests, your body never rests, and your body is constantly in a state of contraction because you're holding it in. You're holding in, you're holding on, you're holding out, holding, and your body doesn't get to relax. So then people don't sleep good at night either. So the way it affects the body and your relationships is big. It's costly.
Yeah, it's such a vicious cycle, right? Because one, it starts somewhere. So how do because most people I would expect were kind of doing all right and then they get stuck, right? So nobody would be stuck all the time. I don't know, maybe, but most people I would imagine things are all right and then they get stuck. So how do people know, like, are there typical ways and situations where that are common where people tend to get stuck?
In business, it's a lot of times when you're ready or need to make a kind of big decision.
Mm.
Maybe you're expanding. Maybe you need to get rid of a partner. Maybe you're looking at your return on investment and it's like, this isn't worth it. Or am I doing something wrong? And so one of the things with being stuck, it isn't like that it's necessarily one thing that happens. It's very often a cumulative building up of things you haven't addressed. And you're going to think about it later, think about it later, think about it later. And then all of a sudden, all of that gunk has made a tar pit, and there you are in that tar pit, and trying to find your way out.
And if it would you say it's that sometimes when you're not sure, and building a business is the classic example, but I think it's I guess it could be in a relationship as well. When you have invested an awful lot of your time and energy and resources, and you haven't really gotten the results you were hoping for. So there's this, when I don't know when you've seen that image where somebody's like digging in like a channel through the earth, and it's like, I don't know, like you can't see what's ahead of you, so you don't know whether you just need to push a little bit further to get what you want, or whether you're on the wrong path. And that decision, when is it too late or too early to change direction? Is that some? I mean, that's a situation where I could totally see how somebody would get stuck. It's the same with relationships. Should I stay? Should I go? I've seen people who've studied medicine and then didn't like the job. It's like, oh, what am I going to do now? I've invested so much time over here where doing something else feels heavy, but keeping going feels heavy too. So when there's no option that's appealing, is that a situation that you've seen?
Yes. And what I find is most often those people have a far away thought about what they want, or what they think they want. And they're not paying attention to what their heart is feeling about that, or they're not paying attention to what their gut is telling them about that far away thing. Everyone should have a goal, have beautiful goals and visions. And you don't have to compromise on that goal or vision. Where you do need to compromise is along the way, how you get there, who might show up, that you're open and relaxed. And that kind of goes back to that contraction thing. Because when you think about digging, it's contraction, right? And so one of the things when I'm working with people is to say, take yourself off the hook. Because I'm a psychic intuitive also. And so I get visuals a lot. And what I would often see, especially with business owning moms, was this vision of, how you have a hook where you hang your coat on the wall, that literally it was a little bit too high. And they were hung on that hook where they were on their tippy toes, trying constantly to find their balance, and it hurt, but they didn't know how to get off that hook. And so that's one of the first things I tell them. I hereby give you permission. I'm taking you off that hook. You won't take yourself off. I'm going to take you off that hook. And I watch their body language, and they just go, oh, their shoulders drop down. They take a deep breath, and it's like somebody just needs to tell you it's okay to take yourself off the hook. Take a little breather here. Let's look back at what you want. More importantly, why? Why did you want that? Or why did you want that? And is that still the same thing you want? And we address that in the NowStepping book. And so that's one of the... Well, what I was finding so often, and especially with business people, is that they were always planning the next step, and they were so far down the line to what the next steps should be, that they were tripping over what was in front of them. They were either tripping over obstacles in front of them, or they were tripping over opportunities in front of them that they were missing, because they were so, looking so far ahead and thinking so far ahead. And I'm like, okay, God, tell me, how can I help these people think differently? And the concept of now stepping came to me. And that's the understanding that to stop wasting all of your brain energy, your heart energy, your life force energy on that far away thing that you can't even define anymore. You can barely even see anymore, but you've invested so much in it that, by God, I'm going to do that. And you're missing what's right in front of you. And so the concept of now stepping is that you are paying attention to the step to take right now. The right step for right now leads to future steps based on the right step each time. And so that's what I wrote a guidance book, I guess is what I would call it. It's Now Stepping, 8 Simple Moves for an Easier Walk Through Life. It's very short, very simple, because when you work with business people, they don't have time to relax and like roll it down and read a book.
It's part of the problem, right? That they're so busy on the hamster wheel, on autopilot, doing all this stuff that they don't have the time to step away. Is that one of the steps? To actually
You'll have
allow,
to get the book.
you have to actually allow their mind to connect the dots and
Yeah.
get clear and get settled.
So, and to let people relax into the thought of this Now Stepping book, it isn't heavy duty stuff. It's little bites of a thing, something you can do right now for the decision you need to make right now. And they're simple but profound. As I never thought about it that way. That's so much simpler to do. And then it's interesting because when you think about now stepping, the now stepping I'm doing right now was yesterday's next step. So your
true.
now step is always the right step when you're focused and present and keep yourself off a hook so you can touch the ground with both feet, And so that's the type of things we talk about. And I think, going back to what you were earlier asking is, and that people really don't get, I think, that cumulative effect. And it might be a belief system that started with your family. And then you had a couple of crummy experiences that you've hung on to. And then you've had a few disillusionments, and you begin doubting yourself. You begin doubting your fellow human beings, and all of a sudden you become like a hermit in your own little world. And so there's the way people express being stuck is very different, of how that shows up. But once you understand how you deal with being stuck, what kind of stuck you are, then you can look at solutions for that and your strengths for solutions. And those, again, are things that we work on together.
Oh, that makes so much sense. So if somebody is now curious about the now stepping, they're not just in book form, right? Especially for people who are like, I don't have time to read another bloody book on my, like, you've got them in a different format as well, which I really love.
Yeah, I did a summit for business owner moms last year. And after the summit, the feedback that I got from the biz owner moms is, I love everything you guys were saying, but I'm a biz owner and I'm a mom. And because of those two roles, I don't have time to read. I don't have time for long things. And so we made a audio series, and each of the steps is a lesson, and each one is under 5 minutes. So you can do it while you're folding your laundry. You can do it while you're jogging. I mean, you've got 5 minutes waiting in the parking lot, pick the kids up from school, and it's calming. It isn't intense, you got to do this, guilt thing. The whole vibe is to relax and let's look at what's in front of you right now.
Love that.
And so that's what I have.
Yeah, and that's what I would like. And I've experienced it, and it's just delightful, and it is like you cannot not relax, right? So it's, if you feel the very least bit stuck, I would highly recommend check it out. We'll pop it underneath this video, and to get in touch with Donna via her website, which is also gonna be underneath here, or reach out on LinkedIn. She's amazing, and and she will definitely help you get unstuck. So thank you, Donna. This was delightful.
Thank you.